All right, so in a previous video, we went over creating a scheduled task manually using the scheduled task form. Today, we're going to talk about creating scheduled task or automations with APIs. Today's use case is going to be for sign up, follow up, or intros. So imagine someone were to sign up for your service and you would like to line up a couple emails that they will receive whenever they after they signed up. All right, so we're gonna go through that really quickly. Right now we are in the function builder. This is a no-code logic builder. We're gonna look at this function, the generic in-house email. This is a function that I wrote that I use in the landing page for Inhouz Cloud. So we're gonna click on this, and we're gonna look at the logic. So basically, it's simple. I have a secret. I have a secret key, which is my SendGrid API key. I basically in one step get this in an end-to-end encrypted fashion. I create my authorization header key in this step. I create the request body of my post request. A lot of you probably are familiar with this. With if you use the SendGrid APIs, you probably notice the parameters from email to email. Those are just parameters that we pass into this function from where we call it from. And here's the network request. You probably noticed that this is a remote network request. So we do have the regular network request and we have the remote network request. The difference between these two requests is that the remote request is end-to-end encrypted. And the reason we're using an end-to-end encrypted request here is because of we have this auth key. So every license has access to this feature except for the free license because we are executing this from our servers, which has some cost to it. Okay, so this function is what we're going to use to send our emails that we're going to generate in our automation function. So I already have a function that I wrote. I created, I haven't written any logic in it yet. This is a sign up intro emails function. So I'm just going to add a workflow step to this function. I'm just going to call it logic. Okay. And we're going to just use the function step create a scheduled task. I think I might have passed it. There we go. All right, so this is going to be similar to what we see in the uh, the scheduled task form. We just have the same data that we're collecting in a different interface. All right, so it's pretty good. It's going to be very, very similar. We're going to give this a name. We're going to call this first email. And we're just going to say this email should be sent within 24 hours. And is this going to be recurrent? No. We only want this to happen one time. Okay. All right. So we have some conditions here for if this was recurrent. If this was recurrent, uh, we could check and pick out the recurrence type. There are a few. You see it in the documentation when you hover over it. There's like three, always timed in interval. But we've kind of gone over this in a different video. But for this, we are looking at this section because our task is only going to trigger one time. And we're going to pick the type of uh, the timing, the timing function. For here, we're going to use a projection because we want to project, within the next 24 hours. There are two types of non-recurrent triggers: projection and precise date. So precise date means I can say, okay, I want this to trigger on Tuesday, at 10 p.m. in the Asian Pacific time zone, right? Or I can just say, hey, I want this to trigger in the next 24 hours with a projection timing function. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to leave it as is, projection. and I want this to trigger in 24 hours. All right. And what we're going to do is that we're going to pick a function, and I think it was called generic in-house mail. Now, this function, of course, has parameters, as we saw in the function. Now, we're not going to go through all the steps of like making sure all these things work. This is just a function that I wrote. You can write your own functions, and you can pass in all the relevant data of your email. We're not going to do that here. We're just demoing, right? So what we're going to do now is that we're going to add another step, right? And as you can imagine, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be uh, to create a scheduled task, right? And this is going to be the same thing. Let's say we want this to trigger in 1 week, 1 week email. I would say, let's remove this. This should trigger in a week. And just like the other one, this is going to be a one-time, task. It's not going to reoccur, and it's going to be a projection. And let's see, let's pull up a calculator. So 24 hours is to a day. What is that by 7? 168 hours. This is going to trigger in 168 hours. And I'm going to use my generic email in-house email function that I wrote. And, I would obviously have different values here. And I probably would use a different function that probably called the generic in-house email function from within, because if you were using this in a reward scenario, the email you will send to someone who has been inactive for a week and the email you will send if the person has been really active for a week are going to be different. So you're probably going to have a different type of function that has different logic and validations, and the function will probably then call your email function. All right. So now we have two functions here. One that triggers within 24 hours and another one that triggers within a week. We're going to save. We're going to deploy this function. Sign up intro emails. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go to my API hub. I already have this tutorial API, so I'm just going to go into it. I'm going to go to my endpoints. I'm going to create another post request. I'm going to say automated emails, automated sign up emails request. And what we're going to do here is that we are going to add a function, and our function is going to be the sign up intro emails. Select that. Okay. And we are going to just leave this as is. Save. We're going to go over here. We're going to deploy to dev environment. We're going to deploy. And now, if I were to ping this endpoint, let's say with the information of someone who were to sign up for my service, if I were to ping this endpoint, that uh, those tasks will be created, and the automation will be live. All right. All right. So I was going to end the video here, but I'm going to go ahead and actually ping this API to prove that it actually does work. All right. So I'm going to take this API's domain, because this is only deployed to the to our development environment. So I'm just going to pull that up. I'll paste it into Postman, pull this in. All right. So before I ping it, I'm just going to go to my schedule task. I only have one task here that I created. I'm just going to refresh the page. So yeah, I do have one task. Then I'm going to pull Postman back up. That is the domain. of the automated sign up emails. This is a private API, so I have my API key and I'm going to ping it. All right, so there was no response body because we only just created two tasks, no response. I'm going to refresh this. And there you have it. We have two non-recurring tasks, the first email and the 1 week email. And if I were to take a look at the first one, it's a projection as we wanted in our development environment, uh, 24 hours. Uh, and the reason why this is the development environment is because we triggered this with the development environment API. If this was a production environment API, then this would be a production environment. Uh, we use all the production environment credentials. And let's look at the other one, 1 week. All right, same story. This should trigger in a week, 168 hours from now. And this is the same function. All right, friends, we've just gone through this. You can automate just about anything. If you can script it using the no code function builder, you can automate it to run whenever you want. All right, I'll see you in the next video.